Have you ever stopped to wonder about the current state of the UK's economy, given the recent Brexit and ongoing global changes? Let's delve into this pressing topic. The UK, once a beacon of economic stability, now finds itself in a rather uncertain position. To comprehend the full picture, we need to consider three key indicators: GDP growth rate, inflation rate, and unemployment rate. The UK's gross domestic product, or GDP, is a measure of the country's economic health. Over the past few years, the growth rate has been sluggish, barely keeping pace with the global average. This lackluster performance has raised concerns about the UK's ability to maintain its economic standing in a post-Brexit world. Now let's turn our attention to inflation. Inflation is the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services is rising. A moderate level of inflation is generally considered healthy for an economy. However, in recent years, the UK's inflation rate has been on an upward trend, outpacing wage growth. This means that the cost of living in the UK is steadily rising, putting a strain on the average citizen's wallet. The third indicator, unemployment rate, paints a similarly concerning picture. While the job market had been relatively stable in the years leading up to Brexit, the fallout from the decision to leave the EU has led to an uptick in unemployment. This is an alarming development, as high unemployment can lead to increased poverty and social unrest. And of course, we cannot discuss the state of the UK's economy without mentioning Brexit. The decision to leave the European Union has had far-reaching implications for the UK, shaking up trade relationships, impacting immigration policies, and creating a climate of economic uncertainty. So, where does this leave us? With a slow GDP growth rate, rising inflation, and increasing unemployment, the UK is grappling with significant economic challenges. Brexit has added another layer of complexity to the mix, making the future of the UK's economy even harder to predict. With these figures in mind, it's clear the UK economy is in a precarious position. Tune into our next segment as we delve deeper into the rising cost of living in the UK. Beyond the hard economic facts, what does this mean for the average citizen in the UK? Well, let's take a closer look. One of the most significant areas of concern is the rising cost of living. It's an issue that's been steadily climbing the ladder of public concern, and for a good reason. Firstly, let's talk about housing. Renting a flat or buying a house in the UK is becoming increasingly expensive. The cost of a home has been rising at a rate that far outpaces wage growth. This means that, for many people, the dream of owning a home is moving further out of reach. Even the cost of renting is going up, making it harder for people to save for a deposit on a home of their own. Then there's the cost of groceries. With food prices steadily rising, the weekly shop is taking a larger chunk out of the average paycheck. And it's not just luxury items that are becoming more expensive. The price of staples like bread, milk, and vegetables has been on an upward trend, adding to the financial pressure on households. Let's not forget about transportation costs. Whether it's the price of petrol for your car or the cost of a rail ticket, getting from A to B is becoming more expensive. For many people, these costs are unavoidable, as they need to travel for work or other essential activities. Now, you might think that wage growth would help to offset these rising costs, but unfortunately, that's not the case. Wages have been growing at a much slower pace than inflation. This means that even though people might be earning more on paper, their purchasing power is actually decreasing. It's a bit like running on a treadmill that's slowly speeding up. You're working harder but not getting any further ahead. The disparity between wage growth and inflation is causing a squeeze on living standards. This is not just a problem for those on low incomes. Middle-income households are also feeling the pinch as their budgets are stretched to the limit. The cost of living is rising faster than many people's wages, making it increasingly difficult for many to make ends meet. But what about jobs? How is the employment market faring in the current economic climate? In the United Kingdom, the story is a mixed bag. On one hand, we've seen an increase in the number of people finding work in the tech and healthcare sectors. These areas have shown remarkable resilience and adaptability in the face of economic challenges. However, the entire picture isn't as rosy. A significant portion of the labor market isn't doing as well. Industries such as hospitality, retail, and manufacturing have faced the brunt of job losses. The pandemic and ensuing lockdowns have hit these sectors particularly hard, leading to a rise in unemployment rates. The UK's unemployment rate has been fluctuating, but it's clear that the numbers are higher than we'd like them to be. The latest reports suggest that the unemployment rate is hovering around the 6% mark. It's a figure that represents millions of people, millions of stories, and millions of families grappling with the stress and uncertainty of job loss. It's also important to note that behind these figures lie disparities that can't be ignored. Young people, for instance, have been disproportionately affected by job losses. The under-25 demographic has seen a significant rise in unemployment, a trend that could have long-term implications for their career trajectories and overall economic prospects. Moreover, geographical disparities are also evident. Certain regions in the UK have been more severely impacted than others. Areas with a high reliance on industries like tourism and hospitality have seen higher rates of job losses. But it's not just about the numbers. The psychological impact of unemployment is profound. The loss of a job can lead to a loss of identity, purpose, and self-worth. It can strain relationships and lead to mental health challenges. So, while there are sectors of the UK economy that are thriving, there are others that are struggling, and people are feeling the effects. The issue of unemployment isn't just about economics. It's about people, their lives, and their well-being. Unemployment remains a significant issue, with certain sectors bearing the brunt of job losses. The road to recovery may be a long one, but it's a journey that we must undertake together. We've mentioned Brexit a few times, but what has been its real impact on the UK's economy? Brexit, a term that has dominated headlines for years, is a phenomenon that has sent ripples across the UK's economic landscape. It's a complex issue, layered with nuances and intricacies, and its effects are far-reaching. Let's try to unravel some of these. First, let's consider trade. The UK's exit from the European Union has redrawn trade lines, causing a shift in the flow of goods and services. This shift has led to increased costs and disruptions in supply chains, affecting businesses across the country. Remember, the UK was part of a single market that facilitated easy trade within the European Union. Brexit has replaced that ease with new trade barriers. Next, we turn to investment. Uncertainty is a key enemy of investment, and Brexit has served a generous helping of it. The ambiguity surrounding the UK's post-Brexit relationship with the EU has deterred investors, leading to a slowdown in investment growth. This, in turn, has implications for the overall economic growth and job creation. A significant pillar of the UK's economy is its financial sector. London has been a global financial hub, but Brexit has cast some shadows over its future. A number of financial services companies have moved parts of their operations to other EU countries to ensure continued access to the single market. This has implications for the UK's tax revenues and employment in the sector. But it's not just the short-term effects that we need to think about. The long-term consequences of Brexit are still being mapped out. These could range from potential changes in the UK's economic structure to shifts in its global economic standing. The full implications of Brexit are still unfolding, but it's clear the impact on the economy has been significant. It's a story that continues to evolve, and we'll be here, watching, analysing, and helping you understand it all. So, given all this, what's the way forward for the UK's economy? It's clear that the solutions lie in a multi-pronged approach. First, we need to stimulate economic growth. This could be achieved through various strategies such as incentivizing innovation, investing in new technologies, and promoting entrepreneurship. By fostering an environment in which businesses can thrive, we can stimulate job creation and consequently reduce unemployment. Second, we need to address the rising cost of living. This could involve implementing policies to regulate prices and increase wages, ensuring that people can afford the basics without struggling. This might also mean investing in affordable housing, improving public transportation, and providing assistance to those who need it most. Third, we must also consider the role of the government and the private sector. Both have a crucial part to play in this process. The government, for instance, can provide a favorable regulatory environment, invest in public services and infrastructure, and ensure that economic growth is sustainable and inclusive. The private sector, on the other hand, can drive innovation, create jobs, and contribute to economic growth. Furthermore, we cannot overlook the effects of Brexit. While the full impact of this decision is yet to be seen, it presents both challenges and opportunities. The UK must navigate these carefully, forging new trade relationships, attracting foreign investment, and maintaining its competitive edge in the global economy. Lastly, it's important to remember that these solutions won't bring about immediate change. Economic recovery takes time. However, with a strategic approach and a commitment to long-term goals, we can begin to turn things around. So, let's not lose sight of the bigger picture. Yes, the UK's economy is facing serious challenges, but these challenges are not insurmountable. With the right strategies and policies, we can stimulate growth, alleviate the cost of living, reduce unemployment, and navigate the complexities of Brexit. The road to recovery may be long and fraught with challenges, but with the right strategies and policies, there's hope for a brighter economic future.